everyone, welcome to Yorkshire Gamer's monthly Wargames update, and today we are in May 2022 and this is the second anniversary of these videos, would you believe. 2 years ago, deep in lockdown, we started doing this and here we are, still going on. So it's the usual mix of new things that have been painted, things that we bought, a couple of a game that I've played, bit of news, etc. The usual thing that you come to expect from this videos. Bit of a warning though, if you don't like Papal Zouaves, you might want to fast forward about 10 minutes because there's a few of them coming up. So let's have a look at what I've painted this month, and as always, the first unit that I'm going to look at is the unit what was the twerk in progress in the previous episode, and that was these. This was the 2nd Battalion of Papal Zouaves for my Risorgimento Battle of Mentana project, and I'd done one of these earlier in the year, so if you've watched these regularly, you'll be familiar with the makeup of this particular unit. But I wanted to get 2 of these units done, both 36 figures, to represent the Papal Zouaves at the battle. 1,500 roughly troops from the unit there, and 2 units of 36 figures are representing that for my game. The figures we've spoke about before, but I'll just go through it again if you've not seen these. They are Perry's ACW Zouave figures, the plastic box set, and for some strange reason the plastic box set of Perry's does not come with a great deal of heads with kepis. There's a couple of kepi heads in the command set, but that doesn't go very far with a 36-man unit. So I've used Steve Barber models. He does a set of separate heads with kepis for the ACW, and they've worked wonders. I think there's probably a very, very slight difference in scale, and mostly due to my modelling technique. I would say a couple of them may look a little bit wonky, but other than that, I think it's done a good job on those. I think they've come out really, really nicely. Uniform wise, it's a pretty typical Zouave uniform, grey with red piping, and the officers, as you can see there, have a slightly different uniform, which is like a light bluey grey with a black piping. So that's the unit. I'll just zoom in a little bit and we'll have a look in a little bit of detail at some of the other figures. There's a little close-up shot on some of the figs. Really nice faces that have come out really nicely. I love these guys here with smoke in the pipe. Lots of lovely variation within the headsets that Steve Barber does. Lots of different things with different facial hair, etc. And it really makes them into a unique unit. There's the only other option really for these, I think, was Sibo's little dudes, which I think from Italy, and I don't particularly like their sculpting style. I believe now that Eagles of Empire are going to bring some out, because the Papal Zouaves went on to fight for the French during the Franco-Prussian War. So there we go. That's a unit of close order not Franco-Prussian, Risorgimento Papal Zouaves, and I'll just push them to the back because there's some more. In addition to the close order unit that I've done, I've put together a little skirmish line, and these guys are Perry miniatures again, but these are metal Perry miniatures, so I've not had to do any head swaps on these. They do a Zouave in kepi metal firing line set with 6 figures, so a couple of packs of those, and I've turned these out as a little skirmish line. They are based on 60 by 30s, half the size of the main close order troops, and again, as you would expect with Perry's, they are superb, lovely figures, really, really nice. and fitting great with the line unit that I have already done. Just 12 of those. I might do some more. We'll see. A bit of play testing on some rules that we'll talk about a little bit later on, and see what I need. But it's quite nice to have those 12 figures to go with the other units. In addition to those Papal Zouave stuff that we've already seen, I've done a command base for my Papal Zouaves, and it might not mean a lot to some people, but I'm quite proud of these because these have been my first successful ever application of green stuff to any figures. If you want to know what they are Argentinian or Argentine Command from the Perry's War of the Triple Alliance range, and as I've said before with this project, I've had to look around quite a lot to try and find figures that will fit in, and it's been an enjoyable journey, I have to say, to look through loads of ranges that I probably would have ignored around the similar time period. Yeah, there's going to be little things wrong with them here and there, but needs must when the devil drives, as I've said before with this project, and I'm trying to get as close as I can, give a good representation of a period that really isn't gained that much in the UK, certainly. So here we have these guys, and so these, as I say, are Argentinian Command, and I'll just zoom in a little bit on them. So there's a little bit of a closer look, and the main work that I've done really is on the jackets, and you can't really tell massively. But if you look at the front of this guy's jacket here, I've put in these jacket lines here and on the other side as well that kind of sweeps round to the bottom of the jacket here. It was a double-breasted jacket on the figure itself, so I've filed off the buttons from that, and then added these two strips of green stuff in just to give it a Zouave jacket look. I'm not saying it's perfect. My modelling skills, as I've said before, are not particularly brilliant, but this actually, I think this looks all right. So there we go. And then on the other guy, the standard bearer, I've done a similar thing there. That figure, if you look at it on the Perry's website, has got quite a deep braided effect on the chest. So I've filled that in with green stuff, and again added in these little strips to replicate the jacket, or the Zouave style jacket. I've had to the flag there and the flagpole hides a lot of mistakes upon that one, but I'm very happy with the way that this particular stand looks. I'll just zoom out again just to give you an all-round look. Really happy with this. Flags from my mate Iain at Flags of War. He did some, as we said, if you listen to the podcast with Iain, he made some up for me because I was moaning that I was having to print them off myself. And bless him, he's done a cracking job, and saw him down at Partisan, that I'll talk about in a little bit earlier on, and we had a lovely chat. Great guy. So that's my Papal Zouaves for the month. I'm just going to add the other unit in just so you can see what the entire brigade looks like. So there we go, a quick overview of the Papal Zouave Brigade for my Montana project. Apologies with this camera, it just focuses dreadful on it. It will focus on a tiny area and nowhere else. To this, for the Papal forces, you've already seen the artillery that I did last month, and then I've got a couple of units of infantry, the Carabinieri Esteri and the Legion d'Antibes, which with my green stuff, I've managed to green stuff some plumes on the shakos for those guys, so they're in the spraying process at the moment. So there's a possibility you might see those next month, because what I'm trying to do, I can split this down into 4 units of 18, and if I have another couple of units, then I'll have enough to get a small skirmish for me, 8-10 units aside, to fight with the Garibaldi that we've already painted. So there we go. There's my the Papal Zouaves, and there's one other unit that I've painted this month. I say unit, I mean command stand. This is a command stand for my Garibaldi troops. And if you've watched these before, you'll have heard me talk about the White Brigade that I'm doing. And this is the command stand for that White Brigade. And while I had the Papal Zouave command stand out, I did a load of horses in oils for the command stands, and I cracked on and did these because this is the next brigade that I'm just about to finish, as we'll see in the work in progress. These figures are from the Perry's 28mm British Interventionary Force range. They are some of the cavalry command figures, and you'll see in a moment in the work in progress, if you don't remember, the Dun Battalion, which was the British battalion, or raised by British officers in Palermo to fight for Garibaldi. And they had, as part of their uniform, the British Kilmarnock-style pillbox hat. And this cavalry has that. So, bless me, it uses that style of uniform, which is very similar to the infantry that I've used. So, again, I've repurposed these British Interventionary Forces for Garibaldi. So we've got an officer figure here, and the very sketchy information that I've got on the Dun Battalion suggests that some of the British officers involved could still be wearing British uniform for that. So I've put him in the red British officer's coat. And no idea whether the horse furniture or anything is correct. Anything about the Dun Battalion is pretty much speculation. And the guy is obviously the standard bearer from that set. The other guy with the Italian flag with the coat of arms of Savoia on there. Very interesting with that. I've had one guy complain to me that my Garibaldi flag was blank on one of my other ones, and it should have the arms of Savoia on, and somebody else complained last week that it should be blank and shouldn't have the arms of Savoia on. So I've put them together in a room, and they can have a little fight, and we'll see which one comes out right. There are pictures of both from contemporary artists, and I've said before on this feature, I'm using them as markers and identifiers for different brigades. So there you go. That's my excuse. Please feel free to argue in the comments, because I don't really care. So there we go. That's everything I've painted this month. Let's have a look at work in progress. Here we go with the monthly work in progress, and nearly halfway through this particular unit, and this is the 2nd battalion of the Dun Regiment, as I just mentioned in the previous segment, which was a unit formed in Palermo in Sicily by British officers and various local volunteers. Fought for Garibaldi through Sicily and the early part of the Risorgimento. I don't know, and I doubt very much whether there would be too many of them left in this uniform, if any, at Mentana, but I'm having this as a general Garibaldi army, which will last for the entire length of the war, and I can swap and change units as and when required. British Interventionary Force figures. I've done a battalion of these before, and I kind of painted in the blanket rolls. And then I've looked a little bit more deeper on the website and find out that they do actually do figures with blanket rolls. So the lesson there is, when you're looking for something specific, actually have a look for it rather than just going, oh, they'll do. So this 2nd battalion has got blanket rolls on, and these will definitely be done by the time we look at June's update, and we'll just have a zoom in closer and have a look at the base that I've got finished. So here we go, usual 60 by 60 bases, 6 figures on the base. Slight stagger, as I always put on, looks nice, but I think in any situation, but particularly nice with this firing line unit. And kneeling front rank, rear rank firing or loading or whatever. Really nice figures. And as I said with these are fitted with a blanket roll over the shoulder and an additional blanket on the back, which is particularly nice. Quite difficult to paint these because there's absolutely loads of stuff on them. They've got the standard British water canteen on there as well, which I've just painted blue. No idea what colour that should be. And I don't think anyone else does before the comments start. But there we go, that's the finished base so far. There'll be 4 bases of 6, 24 figure unit, and we'll be looking at that again next month. So that's what we've done. Let's have a look what we've spent our brass on this month. How much? How much? I don't want you to worry, guys, but I haven't bought any figures again this month. The Wargames industry is collapsing under its feet as we speak. I'm just painting away and getting through the lead pile at the moment. I was even down at Partisan yesterday and didn't buy any figures either. But I have purchased another building for my Sweeney project, and I really like this one. This is from the Stamps One Trains One guy on eBay, and really nice. Made up. He's as we've said before, he's making them extra deep for me to fit in with the other stuff that I've got. Express Dairy. He used to deliver milk to doorsteps all those years ago. I love the effect on this door, the window. That is just a business, that particular building. Really happy with that. It's great. I'm just picking one, as I said before, I'm picking one of these up a month. I'm building up. I've got quite a nice little town now, and I need to try and think of some way of putting this on as a display game. The problem is that, and some of the other ones, there's no back to them at all. So I need to try and think of a way of putting together a town scene with stuff in the middle that hasn't got backs on, some way of covering it. I'll think of something, or somebody, if you've got an idea, put it in the comments below of how I could put this on as a participation game, because I think it would go down really well. So that's what I've bought in terms of things for the Wargames table. Not a lot, I know. Down in Partisan yesterday and had a lovely day. Picked these up. Pickett's Charge. Wargames rules for ACW. I'm looking at these as a potential for the Battle of Mentana project, because I'm really struggling to get some period specific stuff. I've looked at the internet. I've seen some rules of, or some playthroughs of these rules. Quite like them. They're not a million miles from stuff I've played for before for the American Civil War. I need to do a bit more research on the Risorgimento and the type of fighting and see how it would fit in. But I think the basic rule mechanics from this set of rules should work, with a little bit of tweak here and there just to Italianise them up a little bit. So I'm looking forward to getting into that and play testing these hopefully over the coming weeks. Thinking about trying to get down to the club and having a few games of this, either with the Risorgimento stuff or with some 6mm ACW. I know I said 6mm ACW figures that I've got. If you've not seen these rules, they've been out for a while. A couple of really nicely produced fast play sheets, really good, and then good quality presentation. And this is all rules. It's and this is what I do like about the Lardy stuff. You know, there's no unnecessary fluff and rubbish in here. This is your rules. This is how you're going to play the game. Here's some examples. Here's some diagrams. Crack on, have a game. Not here's 87 pages of background that you can get on the internet for free with a search. So looking forward to that. Obviously, these will go to Rich Clark and Nick Skinner's retirement fund. Keep them in the cooking lager that they deserve. And there aren't two better lads who deserve that cooking lager either. I bumped into Nick. I didn't have a chance to speak to Rich at Partisan, but we had a quick chat. Lovely guy. I bumped into everyone. Henry Hyde, Guy Bowers, met both of them for the first time. The usual Bruise in the Vineyard boys, Sean and Alex, Andy Shaw, Graham Beattie, Richard Phillips, Ian McDonald, all loads and loads of Sean Bryant, loads and loads of people have bumped into. Scrivs, Paul Scriven-Smith, first time I've met him in person. Usual group from Leeds as well, Andy, Stephen, Richard Harris as well, Steve Shan, loads and loads of people, and my old mate Steve Barker, who's going to be my next guest on the podcast. So I spent about 10 minutes looking at stuff and the rest of the time talking, which was absolutely lovely, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that was a fantastic day out. A couple of other bits and pieces I'm going to show you. I've picked up this book for next to nothing on Tinterwebnet, Garibaldi, by Jasper Ridley, 700 odd pages. I have picked up some older Garibaldi biographies, and they were dull as dishwater. But this one is actually quite good. I'm enjoying this. It reads nicely. It reads well. So I'll probably get to the end of this one, unlike some of the other ones that I've tried. So if you're looking for a general aura book about Garibaldi, I've read that much so far, and I'm impressed. So yeah, good read. If you're going to get into the history, the last thing that you want to do is to be bored to death with footnotes and all the rest of it. You want to have information and a good read, and this book is that, so I can recommend that. So that's a good one. Got that for about £3 on the internet. Really good. Something else, I've picked up these, or I've had these made, and these are tiny. I hope you're not having an epileptic fit at the moment. These are tiny little Yorkshire Gamer stickers, and these are going on the bottom of figures that I am producing at the moment. And if you would have seen the Border Reivers figures that got sold for auction, they made £75 in, and I donated, including me paying for postage and packing and everything. And I've stuck these stickers on the bottom of those. So in a couple of 100 years' time, on Antiques Roadshow, somebody will bring in their Border Reivers figures, and they'll go, "Oh well, this is the work of the Pudsey artist Ken Riley from Yorkshire Gamer, and around the Garibaldi period, he used to put these on the bottom of his figures when he sold them." So, if anyone thinks I'm being serious, please go and see a doctor. So yeah, I've got those because I am planning on selling painting and to sell. I'm not selling my stuff off. I'm going to paint to sell some stuff in the future. So this is going to go on the bottom of those just to show where it's come from. And one final thing to show you, and I think I might do this by shaky cam because I've not done that for a while. I'm just going to lift this up, and we're going to walk around the games room and have a quick look at this. And this is a print that I have bought on canvas. It wasn't very expensive. It's not the best quality in the world, but it will do. Got this off eBay, and it was only about £25. It's 24 inches by 24 inches, and it shows the Battle of Mentana and the Papal Zouaves fighting against Garibaldi. So I'm going to get that framed and get that up on the wall, which will, I think, will be a really nice addition. I'll probably work out some way of sticking this on the display that I take round to go with the Battle of Mentana when I'm taking it to Wargames shows around the country. So that's what we've bought this month. Just the one game to report on this month, and I went down to Derby and saw the guys from the Plastic Crack podcast and their convention, the CrackCon 2. There was about 50 odd people down at a place called Boards and Swords, which is a sort of gaming venue stroke store down in Derby, quite close to the cricket ground and the travel lodge that we all stayed in. And I took my 28mm 4Novo game down, which some of you will have seen before on this channel, and it was at Fiasco a year or so ago as well. And It's been played a few times, and it was great to get all the figures out on the table again and introduce another 5 players to the joys of the Italian Wars and the joys of the Furioso rules. We had a really good game. It was a victory for the Italians in the end. Sorry, it was a victory for the French in the end, though it was a very, very close game. Lots of close action. We had the French king involved with in a melee with the Italian commander in chief. The Swiss absolutely slammed the lance neck pike block. There was it didn't take long to clear away because most of the figures were already off the table as casualties. But everyone seemed to have a fantastic day, and the whole event itself was really well organised, and the guys from the Plastic Crack podcast were really happy. Lots of other games were on as well. Sean Clark from God's Own Scale was down there. Alex Sutherland as well. I think he's already had his video out of the event. So it was lovely to see all those people, and it was a great event to be involved in. So the monthly look at where we are with followers and stuff. Everything up across the board again, up 24 on Facebook, which is quite a reasonable jump for that. That's been steady away for ages. Another 44 on Twitters, up to 2287. Going a bit crazy on Insta again, 119 up last month. No idea how that works. How the hell I'm at 3,400 nearly, I've got no idea. YouTube steady away at 1454, coming up to 1,500 on that. And the podcast again, as usual, plodding along up to 2009. Once again, as I do every month, thank you very much to everyone who follows Yorkshire Gamer on all the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, podcast, blog, everywhere. It means a lot that you spend the time following my Wargames hobby. I do this for the love of the hobby. I don't make any money anywhere. So thank you very much just for joining me on my Wargames hobby. That sounds very Hollywood. It's not very Yorkshire, that is it? But there we go. So it's time for our usual dip into what's going on in the rest of Yorkshire Gamer and the monthly shout out. This month's shout out is for Metal Mercenaries, a channel run by Sean. And we met down at CrackCon, and I also saw him at Partisan this week. Great guy, really funny guy. He's been around the hobby for a long time, was involved in the first core figures with Rob Baker back in the day. He's painted for every man under the sun. He's a really nice guy, so get down and check his channel out. Top guy. On the podcast this month, I was chatting with Iain McDonald of Flags of War, and we had a lovely chat about his figures and, of course, his flags. Really top guy, and we had a really good, fun conversation. We talked about fish and chips for about 10 or 15 minutes. So if you're not sure what to have as a takeaway this week, then check the podcast out. There's a link in the show notes below. And for those of you who remember the Border Reaver figures that I auctioned off last month, I raised £75 for that, which has gone to the Bradford Burns Unit charity, which was great. So I'll leave you this month with Dave the cameraman, just getting some close-up shots on my Papal Zouave command base. I'm particularly proud of my green stuff work on that. I'm never going to be the Perry twins, but I've done something. I've done some modelling, but I bet it falls off in a couple of weeks' time or something like that. But there we go. So thanks once again for joining me, and we'll see you again next month for some more Yorkshire Gamer wargaming business. See you soon. Sithee.